Washington, D.C., the campus of Georgetown University, and the stakes could not be higher. It's the number 3 seeded Georgetown Hoyas welcoming the number 6 seeded Huskies of Washington. Dan Helfrich alongside Tom Greaser. And Tom, this is the moment that these student athletes look forward to their entire careers.
And both teams are playing some of the best soccer they've played all year, and in a lot of ways they're mirror images of each other. Both teams will press high, both teams create a lot of chances, and you have two very stingy defenses.
And Tom, as we look at these two teams statistically, what speaks to me is dominance. Over 2 goals a game each, about a half a goal conceded each. These teams are dominating, and that's continued throughout the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, the 2 games that they've played in the tournament have been convincing victories for both sides. Georgetown scores 10 goals in 2 games. Washington with only 6 goals, but it really could have been 10 with the way they played.
Now, when we talk about Washington, there's an unfamiliar number to most soccer players. That's number 98. It's Blake Bodley.
The junior Portland Timbers Academy, the Pac-12 Player of the Year, leads the team in scoring, and the junior is playing the best soccer at the end of the year. 8 goals in the last 8 games.
Yeah, so Bodley and Meek will be the tandem to look for. On the other side, for the Hoyas, it'll be Dotson and this man, number 7, Jacob Montez.
And Montez actually played with Bodley at the Timbers Academy. He's the Big East Midfielder of the Year. He had a brace against Louisville in the last round.
Will it be Washington? Will it be Georgetown? Someone will make history today on the hilltop at Georgetown. The action coming up next on the Big East Digital Network.
Thanks, Dan and Tom. Georgetown head coach Brian Weiss told me he thinks where the game is played today is going to be especially important, saying the Hoyas need to make this match into a territory game. And to do that, they need to get deep into the Huskies' half and change their defensive posture from a pressing posture to a protecting one. As for Washington, head coach Jamie Clark told me, in his opinion, he thinks the Hoyas have been more ruthless in their finishing than his team. And he said today, especially, his team's service and their finishing is crucial.
Thank you, Megan and Tom Greaser. This is a moment that, frankly, we anticipated and look forward to all year long. It's the 2 best teams in this bracket, arguably 2 of the best teams in the country. And here's the starting lineup of Jamie Clark's Huskies.
Yeah, with a freshman in goal, Jamie Clark has used 2 goalkeepers all year, but it's the freshman Sam Fowler who's played in all the tournament games, and he is a very good keeper.
So the Huskies excited to be here. It's an early start, and we'll talk about that in the broadcast. On Georgetown's side, it's a familiar lineup with a little tweak, and that tweak is Ethan Lochner, the graduate student, starting in the midfield, and then the rotation is called number 30 in the goal, Tomas Romero.
Yeah, and for 2 teams that are giving up about half a goal a game, you have freshman goalkeepers in this Elite 8 contest.
So, Tom, the conditions, perfect today, and we take one more look there at Sam Fowler, and Fowler's had an outstanding freshman season, but I was saying, Tom, the conditions ideal for soccer, no breeze to really speak of, mid-40s, the sun is out, and someone's getting to the Final Four.
And it is going to be an entertaining game. As you mentioned, perfect conditions, unlike last year's. We get a good look at Tomas Romero, who will be manning the goal for Coach Weiss and the Georgetown Hoyas today.
So there are interested soccer observers all around the country and the world today as we will bring the 3rd Final Four team into next week's College Cup in Cary, North Carolina. Last night, Stanford and the Cavaliers of Virginia punching their ticket. And the purple-clad Huskies versus the gray-clad Hoyas. A great crowd settling in, and we're underway at Shaw Field.
And Dan, we've talked about with this noon start, such an early wake-up call for this Husky side, but all week they've been preparing for this with early wake-up calls and then traveling to D.C. on Wednesday to get ready for this match.
That was Bartlow, a good ball, finding Townsend. Townsend can't keep it in play, but Tom, I know on tape you've loved what you've seen of Ethan Bartlow.
Yeah, Bartlow, he scored 2 goals in their last contest, and he is an anchor of this defense for Washington, the sophomore, one of the captains for this Huskies side.
There's Derek Dotson, one of the tri-captains for Georgetown, 2 of them in the starting lineup. Dotson and all-everything right back Dylan Nealis. Achara, the senior tri-captain, will be available off the bench today, still coming back from a lower body injury.
Yeah, and it just shows the depth of this Georgetown side. Achara, an all Big East performer, missed many games this year with an injury and dealing with something again, but sounds like he'll be ready to go.
Here's Dotson collecting a ball 30 yards from goal. Now Zawadzki, and here's our first look at Dylan Nealis, the Herman Trophy watch list candidate, now a semifinalist. And Lochner's going to win a corner for Georgetown in the 2nd minute. And Tom, Georgetown has pounced on their opponents in both the first 2 matches, finding goals inside the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, the Hoyas have come out firing in both of the second-round contest against Pittsburgh and then last week against Louisville. And here early on, the Hoyas win a corner kick.
And here's Paul Rothrock, who's red hot right now. 2 goals against Louisville, is second on the team with 7 assists. Outswinger. Ball falls to the back post, and Townsend's going to be able to clear. Dangerous ball there by Rothrock.
And, of course, Rothrock from Seattle, Washington, played with many of these Huskies in the Sounders Academy program.
Here's Kleeman and Bartlow. That's going to be the center back pairing, both comfortable with the ball. Kleeman listed at 6'4", looks every bit of it. As Sean O'Hearn heads the ball into the Hoya bench.
Yeah, and as Washington builds out of the back, they are so comfortable with the feet of their goalkeeper, Sam Fowler. He really is an outlet for them and can play really good balls under pressure.
And Tom, here's a moment that tactically the Hoyas no doubt have been preparing for all week. The long throw of the Huskies, such a weapon, and one that the Hoyas have not faced much this season.
And you talked about the size of Kleeman. He's coming forward as that target as Washington elects to go short.
Dangerous ball to the back post. Headed above and then cleared by Daniel Wu, Georgetown's starting freshman center back. And clipped back into the area to Kleeman. He'll leave for Townsend. Townsend in traffic. Looking to uncork a left-footed shot, and it's a goal! And it's a brilliant finish by Jared Townsend. And it's the Huskies who start the scoring on the road in D.C.
And what a start for the Huskies. And you're right, Jared Townsend with his 7th goal of the year. And this is an absolute beautiful finish with the left foot into the upper corner. Nothing Romero can do about it.
And Townsend, with the patience to carry the ball across the D, waiting for an opening, found it and made no mistake.
He did not, and it was really that second ball. Kleeman did such a good job to bring that service at the back post down and give Townsend a chance to run across the box.
You can almost hear the cheers from Seattle early in the morning as the Huskies say so much for the disadvantage of the early start. Rothrock wicket for Georgetown. Now Lochner driven ball. As the Hoyas attack, it's Rothrock with it in the box. He'll go to the end line and win Georgetown's second corner. Tom, let's see if we can take another look at that finish by Townsend.
Just running across the box, and that is a goal for the ages for Townsend, as you saw all the swerve into the upper left-hand corner.
So it'll be Rothrock to hit the in-swinging corner this time, the junior transfer. Straight into the hands of Fowler. And again, not much wind to deal with. Shaw Field here on the campus of Georgetown University in great condition here in December. It's the 3rd time, Tom, that the Hoyas have hosted a Final 8 game. They defeated the University of San Diego in 2012 and then lost in penalties to the Virginia Cavaliers. As we see Bodley attacking, the first look at the exciting Herman Trophy semifinalist.
Yeah, Washington has a semifinalist, as does Georgetown. You made reference to Nealis, but you can see with the ball, Bodley with great pace running at defenders.
And, Tom, this is a Georgetown team that's trailed for less than 45 minutes on the entire season.
Yeah, the first time they went down, they had a great response at UCLA, where they ended up winning 5-1 in that contest. The biggest challenge they faced was in the Big East Final, obviously. They were down 1-0 at halftime. They came back to win that game 3-1, but it is not a team, this Georgetown Hoyas program, that has found themselves losing many times this year.
The first foul whistled. It's Eric Tattersall in the orange referee jersey, manning the middle today. And as we saw in the Virginia semifinal last evening, referees can make a difference. As Virginia winning and converting 2 penalties to defeat SMU. And the number 1 seeded Cavaliers find their way into the College Cup. The winner of this match will play Stanford.
And the Cardinals find themselves back in another College Cup. It's just been what an impressive run. Of course, Stanford and Washington played twice this year, splitting those contests.
Turnover. Polvera finds it 20 yards from goal. And then a good tackle from Kleeman, who went down for it. You see some of the range there of Polvera. Now Zawadzki finds Rothrock. Rothrock against French to the end line. And they'll say goal kick. And the assistant referee in a good position there. Rothrock thought he'd won a corner.
Yeah, Rothrock tried to get to the end line and win this corner kick. Good defending by French. That ball looks to potentially sneak over the end line.
Kleeman will relieve pressure as O'Hearn and Miglietti battle for it. And then a foul in the corner flag. And referee Tattersall will have a word with Miglietti.
Hearn just trying to get position here, and a little shove after the ball went out of bounds.
Emphasis on little. Sean allowing gravity to take him down harder than the force of the push for sure. So we're in the 7th minute. An absolute howitzer from the left foot of Jarrett Townsend, the difference here as Washington comes on the road against the highly acclaimed Hoya team and takes the lead. Dotson and French battle, and the ball falls to Magnus. Tom, I think it'd be safe to say, in time of day, the earliest goal Washington scored all season.
Certainly when it's Pacific time.
Possession conceded, shot from distance, just over. And that time, it was Lucas Meek, who's come on in the second half of the season, who dispossessed Hope Gunn and nearly beat Romero.
Yeah, Meek, the second leading scorer, did not miss by much, and it's quite the story for Meek. Coming into this season, only played 3 minutes. This year has found 6 goals already to go with 7 assists.
And in talking to some of the Washington supporters this week, talking to the staff, Pete Scheimer, Patagawa, talking to Jamie Clark, the emergence of Meek has really been the surprise, really, of a coaching career for Jamie.
Yeah, Meek has such a great attitude, a positive attitude, very supportive of his teammates, even when he's not playing. And that's hard to do, right? To really be unselfish and fully support and be happy for your teammates. But that's what Meek did. And then when given the chance, he literally didn't allow Coach Clark to take him out of the lineup.
Possession conceded by Townsend. Here's Lochner, the grad student. He'll go wide to Chicago native Derek Dotson. First look at Nealis. This is the patient possession that Georgetown is known for as a program. You see Georgetown setting its defensive shape, Tom, very high.
Yeah, and every time Washington's just elected to play long, trying to get onto second balls and flicks as Townsend's trying to win this one against O'Hearn.
And it goes out of play, and it will be a corner. Let's go to Megan real quick. I know, Megan, you learned some stuff about Lucas Meek this week.
Thanks, guys. And talking with Coach Clark about Meek, he was telling me how Meek wasn't the highest recruited guy coming into it, and Meek was the self-proclaimed hype guy on the team even. And when they gave him the opportunity to get some minutes in, Lucas really capitalized on them. And Coach Clark said he even opened the coaching staff's eyes and said, wait, he might deserve a little bit more time, guys.
Thanks, Megan. Corner taken by Ostrom, headed away by Sean Zawadzki, and the Hoyas will counter. But a good job by Bodley getting back into strong defensive shape.
Yeah, the Pac-12 Player of the Year showing a great defensive range. Talked about his pace running at the ball, and they're running down Rothrock.
11th minute here on the campus of Georgetown in Washington, D.C. It's the Georgetown University Hospital Complex you see in the foreground of your screen right now.
And for this Georgetown side, who has started on the front foot in the first 2 NCAA tournament games, they've yet to get a shot today, 10 minutes into this contest. Very unusual for this prolific offense.
Polvera, the freshman, little back heel, easily cut out there by Ostrom. And now Bodley with space. Excellent tackle from Sean Zawadzki. And now Montez, our first look at the exciting junior. He has Dotson to his right, and he has Lochner. It's Ethan, the grad student. He'll peel away and find Zawadzki. Now Rothrock. Georgetown buzzing around the Husky end. Dotson finds Zawadzki. Hoyas finally find Nealis' foot. That's where they want a lot of the attack to come from. Polvera early ball to the back post. Rothrock athletically keeps it in play, but he's whistled offsides.
And Rothrock been around the ball a lot today for Georgetown.
As we look at Eric Tattersall, today's official. And Tom, Rothrock has been around the ball a lot on this left side, but the Hoyas really like the right side to come into the attack, and Washington thus far has dealt well with the right side attack, in particular Dylan Nealis.
And Nealis loves to stretch the field and make it difficult for opposing defenses to keep their shape.
And Tom, these two teams mirror images of each other in so many ways. We saw that statistically in the open, but stylistically as well.
Yeah, both teams will press. Both teams will create a lot of chances in the attack. You know, Washington, over 20 shots in each of their 2 NCAA tournament games.
And Tom, neither team really pressed much in the tournament thus far.
Oh, yeah, it's been convincing victories. I mean, it's a 2-0 scoreline for Washington against Boston College. But Washington had 17 corner kicks in that game to BC's 0. It was a dominant performance. And if it wasn't for the Eagles goalkeeper, it could have been 5 or 6-0.
Nealis through ball blocked, but Zawadzki retains possession. Now Nealis the nutmeg. He and Dotson converge, but Washington gets numbers around the ball.
A lot of numbers at the top of the box.
Zawadzki from distance off the crossbar. And Sean Zawadzki nearly leveled things at Shaw.
And Sam Fowler is thankful for that crossbar as Zawadzki from about 30 yards intercepts one and hits an absolute rope that had Fowler beaten.
The quality on display for those who've not seen this Georgetown team. Sean Zawadzki, all-conference performer out of the Crew Academy system, has been, to many on the Hoya staff and around the program, the most valuable player on this team.
And you think about the one loss that Georgetown had this year was against Louisville in the regular season, and Zawadzki was unable to go in that contest.
Here's the goal scorer, Townsend. Good feed again, out wide to Miglietti. Early ball cut out by Hope Gundon. It'll be a throw-in for Washington deep in the Georgetown end.
And this is ultimately where their goal came from, where it started from originally, and ball gets recycled back in, and Townsend hits a brilliant shot. But Georgetown, again, going to have to deal with the size of Kleeman and be careful on second balls.
It's a good look at the goal scorer today, Jared Townsend. Romero way off his line. Ostrom heads back into the area. Not cleared. Ball still bounding around, and finally Daniel Wu able to relieve the pressure.
Yeah, and getting onto those second balls is going to be key. So there was a lot of traffic in front of Romero.
And there a foul whistled on Kleeman. I seen Romero got into it, but Tomas Romero yet to lose a collegiate start.
Just a slight bump by Kleeman, who comes forward on all those long throws as that main target for Washington.
Romero 8-0-2, his official record in his freshman season. As we see
and 7 shutouts for Romero as well, just remarkable.
We see the student crowd starting to ring Shaw Field as Lochner against Ostrom. Washington plays out of pressure well. Magnus, a reverse ball, but Nealis reads it. Then a good tackle by Magnus to allow Washington to thrust forward. Tom, a pretty subdued crowd right now. It's a big crowd, but it's been quieted by the Townsend goal.
Yeah, goal 4 minutes into a contest can certainly take the air out of a crowd, and certainly Georgetown look to find that man Montez get the ball to his feet. It's like bodily for Washington. He can glide through opposing defenses. Some of the students working their way out to Shaw Field.
Rothrock looked like a double deflection there, and it will be Washington throw. Wu without much pressure. Possessed through Nealis. Daniel Wu, one of the big stories of this Georgetown season, an unexpected starter in the center back, but really, Tom, since moment one, he's earned that position as Bartlow goes forward.
And the defensive player of the year in the Pac-12 showing his skills coming forward, and Coach Weiss has a lot of respect for Bartlow.
And a goal kick whistle to allow us first substitution of the match, and it will be Ethan Lochner exiting in favor of Zach Riviere, who loves seeing a Pac-12 opponent, Tom. The first time he saw one this year, 3 goals ensued.
It was a hat trick, and they were brilliant finishes by Riviere. And different type of player than Lochner, really quick feet Riviere, and he has an educated left foot on restarts.
Riviere out-jumped by Magnus. It's Kleeman sending Miglietti to the corner flag. He's warded out of bounds by Hope Gund. And then Miglietti rolling around.
You see some Hoyas warming up. Miglietti, I think, making a meal of that one on the end line.
Miglietti acting as if he's in a human log roll competition there.
Hope Gun with the smile. The junior Hope Gun for Georgetown. Talk about Georgetown only conceding 10 goals coming into this match. The junior center back has been so key as Georgetown has rotated goalkeepers every other game.
So Romero will have a chance to restart it. And Tom, you talk about programs that had a lot of respect for one another. I'm not sure I've run into 2 coaches and 2 staffs who have as much respect for one another's programs as Washington and Georgetown.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of history. We'll certainly take a look at that as the game goes on between Coach Weiss and Coach Clark. But you're right, there is both coaches said almost the same thing. We watch the other team play, and it looks like us, looks like the style, looks like how we want to play.
Miglietti tries to found Townsend. Hope Gunn, tough ball back to Romero, whose first touch is good. And Kleeman whistled for a foul as Dotson got into him after the play. And Derek Dotson, Tom, having trouble finding the match right now.
Yeah, both Montez and Dotson not seeing much of the ball at all for Georgetown. Their two leading goal scorers, dynamic tandem, those juniors.
There's Charlie Ostrom, sophomore, one of those Seattle Sounder products.
Yeah, this Washington lineup is littered with Sounders Academy product players.
And several of those Sounders players part of the first team system that won the MLS Cup this year.
Yeah, and of course, we talked about for Georgetown, Paul Rothrock played with many of them growing up in Seattle.
Tom, we talked about those Weiss-Clark connections. Lots of former members of the Dartmouth program watching around the country right now, a place where Weiss played and Jamie grew up in Hanover, New Hampshire as a wee lad.
And of course, Jamie would, as Washington, as Bodily.
And a big save by Romero. Ball still bounding around and cleared by Nealis.
Bodily unloads that left foot deep in the box. And this Washington attack is humming right now.
Take another look at that. Miglietti and Bodily got all that. Romero well positioned.
Yeah, take a look at Coach Weiss. Of course, he was the goalkeeper for Bobby Clark at Dartmouth in his 14th season here at Georgetown, in his third Elite Eight game. And Coach Weiss was saying as he was at Dartmouth and Jamie was coming up through the ranks, Jamie would come out and train with the college guys and you know, really help develop Jamie. He's around the game his entire life, and he turned into a fantastic player.
Weiss looking for his second College Cup appearance, Clark his first. And Tom, approaching the midway mark of this first half, the Big East champions having trouble finding rhythm against a very athletic and very well-organized Washington team.
Yeah, and one of the things that, you know, we were curious to see was how Washington came out at the start, this early start time for them, a 12 noon Eastern kickoff. But it looks like they are the fresher side, quicker to balls, and playing with a higher level of urgency right now than Georgetown.
It was Jared Townsend who scored the goal for this man, his sixth of the season, setting the tone for the match.
And Jamie's done a great job here at the University of Washington. You mentioned this is his second Elite Eight game. Of course, as a player, he made it all the way to the NCAA Tournament Championship game his senior year where Stanford fell to Indiana.
Dangerous ball. Romero punches away. And Magnus forced to go backwards. Townsend 1-on-1 against Rothrock. Beats him once, then he'll try it again. Here's Bodily. Magnus top of the box. Double team coming. Then a nutmeg from Riviere. Riviere at speed for Montez. Washington in good shape defensively.
Washington does a great job getting numbers back behind the ball. This is a Georgetown team. While they can keep possession for stretches, they will counter quickly.
Great skill from Nealis. Nealis into the box. Nealis, a drive is blocked in a corner, and there you see Dylan Nealis' athleticism on display.
Yeah, the two-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, but it's his ability to run at opposing defenses that put so much pressure on other teams, and the Hoyas with another corner kick.
And that'll allow Brian Weiss to go to the bench for the second time and find the exciting left-footed freshman Will Sands. And he'll replace Rothrock. And Tom, as this season has progressed, Sands, the twin brother of NYCFC first-team player James Sands, has been superb.
Yeah, early on, Sands dealt with some injuries, but as the season has gone on and his fitness has gotten better, he has been a dynamic player off the bench for Coach Weiss.
It'll be Riviere to hit Georgetown's fourth corner of the first half. Looping ball into the middle, headed, and can't get on goal. Now O'Hearn with it. Miscommunication, but Nealis retrieves. Here is Will Sands. Loves to go one-on-one. Dangerous ball. Knotted down by Hope Gunn. Dotson battling for it. And it's finally cleared. Georgetown applying pressure as Nealis switches the play. Georgetown in odd shape right now after the restart. Several of their defenders caught upfield as Washington attacks. There's one of them, Hope Gunn. He does just enough there to disrupt the run of Ostrom.
Yeah, we talked about Washington getting numbers behind the ball, but there, as Georgetown had their most prolonged pressure in front of the Washington goal with the turnover, the Huskies break out quickly, but the Hoyas did a good job thwarting that attack.
And it'll be Tevez replacing Miglietti. And Tevez has been so effective off the bench this year, one of the leading assist men for the Huskies.
Yeah, and he also dealt with some injuries for Washington early on, and he's come into form. 8 assists on the campaign for Tevez.
Dan Helfrich, Tom Greaser, Megan Caffrey with you here at Shaw Field. The stakes are very high. It's the third ticket to be punched for this year's College Cup to take place in Cary, North Carolina, in the Raleigh-Durham area. The winner of this match will join Stanford, Virginia, and then the winner of tonight's match between the Gauchos of UC Santa Barbara and the Demon Deacs of Wake Forest.
And what some entertaining soccer last night in the Elite Eight. Both contests go to overtime.
Ooh, a dangerous ball, but does connect with Polvera. Here's Montez, the Big East midfielder of the year. Now to the Big East defensive player of the year. And decorated players on both sides of the pitch today.
Yeah, and if you're Georgetown, you want Montez receiving the ball 20 yards further up the field than that last possession. He's having to come back deeper and deeper to find pockets of space.
Sean O'Hearn, the Pennsylvanian junior. O'Hearn has alternated between left and center back in the second half of this year, but this is the position he's manned throughout most of his 3 years on the Hilltop. Wu concedes possession, sort of baited into that pass by Meek.
Yeah, Washington allows Georgetown to swing the ball side to side, but they will jump on any poor passes.
27th minute here in Washington, D.C. 1-0 the score. A casual fouler there. Nearly conceded possession to Dotson. Here's Montez against Kleeman. And Kleeman, the redshirt sophomore from out of Newberry Park, California, gets the better of that battle. Two-handed shove from Hope Gunn. And to call that a delayed reaction would be an understatement. It was almost if the protestations of the Washington bench were heard by referee Eric Tattersall.
Yeah, and it will be another free kick inside the midfield line, which will allow Coach Clark to send Kleeman forward. And balls have been bouncing around in front of Romero on these free kicks.
Romero's off his line, a collision, and a foul whistled there on Kleeman.
O'Hearn got knocked down, and there was an offsides call as Georgetown elects to play quickly out of their defensive third.
Dotson fouled at midfield. And the Hoyas will restart play. Again, Georgetown trailing for one of the first times all season at home as Jared Townsend's early cannon from 19 yards the difference. O'Hearn, switch of the play to the corner flag, finds Nealis. Nealis early ball, headed away by Magnus.
You just get the sense with the way Washington is defending, it seems like they almost have an extra player out there as Georgetown. That is a good switch of the ball by O'Hearn, but Washington on a string defensively, the entire team moving together, keeping their shape.
Replacing number 7, Jared.
The substitution, the goal scorer, Townsend, will exit. And the redshirt senior, Joey Parrish, who's been sort of instant offense off the bench with 4 markers on the season, will enter.
Yeah, Coach Clark has a lot of depth at Washington, as does Brian Weiss, and both sides electing to go to their bench early here. Several new players on the field.
Ostrom and Soto combine. Good feet from Kleeman to evade the pressure of Montez. And Tom Bodley, other than his one left-footed chance, been relatively quiet for the Huskies, as has Montez for the Hoyas.
And both players unable to find pockets of space. And both of them can dance through defenses, but having a hard time finding the ball.
The 31st minute now as Meek wins the header. Here is Bodley freeing Meek. Meek against Hope Gunn. The dangerous Meek cuts inside. Right-footed shot over as he was trying to pick out the far post. But the first time we've seen Lucas Meek's athleticism on display.
Yeah, and you can see how quickly this Washington side will attack and put you under pressure as Bodley intercepts that ball in the midfield. It's a good ball and a cut inside by Meek. Another shot from this Huskies attack.
And Georgetown in the top 5 in the country in shots per game, only 1 thus far in more than 30 minutes.
Entering the match for the Hoyas, number 11, Jack Beer, replacing number 7, Jacob Montez.
Weiss takes out Montez,
replacing number 17.
and looks to Jack Beer. Beer was the offensive player of the Big East tournament and also scored against Louisville, but an early breather for Jacob Montez.
And we had talked about he was just struggling to find the game, but it's also the depth that Coach Weiss has leaned on the entire season. He feels that he can call a number of players and they can come in and lift the level of play, and right now Weiss is looking for a spark off the bench, and Beer is one of those guys that has the ability to strike at a moment's notice.
Kleeman, clearance straight up in the air. And then Parrish and Sands battle. It'll be a throw-in for Georgetown right in front of Jamie Clark and the Washington bench. And then Dotson fouled by Magnus. The bench did not like the call, as you see Jamie Clark having a word with the 4th official. And this will allow Georgetown, Riviere, and Beer to confer over a restart from the near left side.
And you take a look at it, Dotson kind of almost holding off Magnus with his left arm. An experienced way to win a foul in a dangerous spot.
Will it be Riviere or Beer to serve? Georgetown sending its target players forward. It will be Beer. Flick header by Fisher right into the arms of Fowler.
And Fowler did a good job just standing his ground there. So with that high line that Washington was holding, hard to beat him with a flick header from the top of the box.
Dotson wins a tackle near midfield. But out of play, and so a throw-in for Washington. The 4th minute goal from Jared Townsend. The difference here in Washington, D.C. as the Pac-12 champions lead the Big East champions with the Final Four on the line. Kleeman finds Meek, now Bodily. Bothered by Zawadzki's pressure. And the second foul, rather it was the first foul that the referee awarded there after the advantage was played.
Yeah, and some of the fans are upset about that because they thought it was that second challenge where Zawadzki won it clean. A little bump there that the referee calls, and that's not a lot of contact in the center of the park.
Tevez and Ostrom. Ostrom over the ball. Tevez hits. Daniel Wu wins the header. And then Zawadzki and Beer able to clear. 35th minute. An impressive Washington side has come into D.C. and put the Hoyas on their heels.
Yeah, the Pac-12 champions are right now taking it to the Big East champions. And, of course, Georgetown won the regular season and the tournament this year.
Beer will find Sands. Loves to go one-on-one. He's got French on skates. Sands cuts inside now. Finds Zawadzki. Overlap coming from Nealis. Gorgeous football from the Hoyas. And a good bit of defending from Ostrom to dispossess Nealis.
And, Dan, you're right. When Sands gets the ball out wide, he loves running at players, and he prefers to get to the left. And Washington did a good job on the scouting report, forcing him inside where they were covering defenders.
And Tom, an important moment here. 9 minutes and change for Achara, the senior from Nigeria, to see as he's coming off of a bit of a knock, how much impact can he make in this match?
Yeah, Char clearly can be a difference maker in a contest like this. His pace, his finishing ability. And Georgetown definitely needs a spark in this attack right now.
And you see what Jamie Clark is doing here. All 11 players packed within, 50 yards from Fowler's goal.
And it's a 4-4-2 across the field, and they are staying together as a unit.
Dotson leaves for Beer. Rather Achara. Bodily goes backwards. Kleeman clears. And off the shin guard of Sean O'Hearn for a throw-in for the Huskies. This Georgetown crowd looking for something to get excited about as Jamie Clark goes to the bench and finds Imanol Rosales.
Freshman from Mexico. This is a young Washington side as well.
Dylan Tevez.
Ostrom. Now Tevez. And Rio Gum wins another one-on-one battle. Here's Nealis. A swashbuckling run down the right side. Gets it back from Achara. The senior looking for Beer, but cleared by Kleeman. And then a misstep from Zawadzki allows Meek to initiate the attack. Play on, says Tattersall. Meek still on the ground. And Georgetown will continue to play. Riviere in traffic just wide.
And that's the quick release we talked about as Riviere came on. Doesn't need a lot of space to get this shot off.
And we see Meek getting off the ground, and that leads to Riviere's chance. And Megan, I know you've enjoyed getting to hear about the relationship between Brian Weiss and Jamie Clark all week long.
Oh, I certainly have, Dan. And you and Tom were talking about just how deep this history between the two coaches goes. And it goes all the way back to Albuquerque, New Mexico, when Jamie Clark's dad, Bobby Clark, was actually recruiting Brian Weiss's older brother. And Coach Weiss told us that Coach Clark's dad was the reason that he got into coaching. And he did joke around saying he's 0-2 against the Clark
Sands
family
making
and
a
hopes
run. He
that
can't
it
find
skips
him,
a
though, as
generation.
French intercedes. Now Nealis. Wide to Sands, he chests down. Left-footed service, can't get his hips square. Ball still in play, though, as Achara has it. Now Nealis, dangerous service by everybody. And just enough there into the back of Beer. But again, you see that man, Mr. Will Sands, number 14, causing havoc down the left side.
Yes, Sands has made a difference since his number's been called. Fowler starting to see some of this Georgetown attack more than he would like in front of his goal.
Fowler, a little few more seconds. Tick off the Shaw Field scoreboard. As O'Hearn rises above Parrish to win the header. And O'Hearn will go all the way back to Romero. He'll have to deal with the bouncing ball. He's confident with his feet, Tomas Romero.
And a great organizer as well.
It's Romero and Giannis Nicopolidis, the Big East goalkeeper of the year, who've rotated all season long. And for some teams, that causes controversy and strife. For this Hoya team, it's been a source of strength.
Yeah, both goalkeepers completely bought into what Coach Weiss and this coaching staff for Georgetown has asked of them. The team has complete confidence in both keepers, and it has been a stout defense all year long that this Husky side was able to exploit early in this match.
There's the Croy from Jack Beer. He stole that patent from Keegan Rosenberry. Beer looping ball, a char against Fowler, but Fowler off his line.
Dan, with a char inserted into the match, there is some more urgency to the attack right now for Georgetown. An important last 5 minutes of the half for Washington to figure out how they can get to halftime, having not allowed Georgetown to score.
And you can just see the tactics in the game plan of Jamie Clark and the Husky staff on display throughout this half. Press high when it's opportunistic. When you have a chance for a restart, you send players forward. Then you get the 1-0 lead, and you make it really hard for Georgetown to play.
Yeah, be incredibly organized defensively. Keep your shape. Get numbers behind the ball. But look, this Washington team isn't content with just one goal. It's a team that has scored 7 goals already in the NCAA
Nealis to
tournament.
Riviere. He wants to go left and does. Double team comes. Meek wins it.
There's another example. The numbers behind the ball for the Huskies.
Rosales concedes possession. Now it's the two seniors, Achara and Nealis. It's Achara, cleanly tackled by Meek. Achara lacking that burst a little bit, Tom, though, as you said, certainly important on the pitch here for the Hoyas.
Yeah, he's got to work himself into this match, and there's not a lot of time to find that burst that you talked about.
It's Jack Beer, who's been active since coming on. And O'Hearn for about the 4th time switching the play to Nealis. Dylan Chesson. Dylan is in. And it's blocked brilliantly by Bartlow.
It's an incredible defensive play by Bartlow getting over there. It's one of the first times that Nealis has been able to be isolated, and is a great first touch off of the chest. But it's the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, Bartlow, coming over to cover.
Tevez running against Hope Gunn, and Rio yet again wins the physical battle. But Tom, the passing range of Sean O'Hearn has been on display in this first half.
Yeah, and when you're switching the ball from side to side, you have to overhit those balls, and O'Hearn is hitting those perfectly clean, allowing Nealis to run onto it. But Washington, many teams struggle defending that. Washington has done a very good job of shifting their shape as that ball is switched.
O'Hearn finds Wu. Wu, who desperately wants to go home next week. Final Four in his hometown. A chart at the end line against Kleeman. They battle for it. And it's a goal kick whistled as the corner flag injured in that melee.
Entering the match for the Huskies, number 19, Cole Grimsby.
And a late sub by Jamie Clark as he'll ask the redshirt junior Cole Grimsby for a couple minutes. Native of Woodinville, Washington. Just 80 seconds remain. Townsend's goal, the difference, as an impressive Washington side has clamped down on the all-everything Georgetown attack. Achara, ball squirts to Beer. Beer another Cruyff, and is fouled hard.
Yeah, that is a dangerous foul by Soto on Beer. And Achara has a word with the talented freshman. Oh, and that is a real dangerous challenge, actually, as Soto came up, stud showing.
And Christian Soto, the freshman from Des Moines, Washington, into the referee's notebook. And Tom, it's like Jack Beer, the Cruyff is coming every time he's in a tight spot.
Yeah, just quick turn, gets out of spaces.
And this is a place, Tom, where Georgetown at many times a year is elected to play a ball to the back post and then have it headed across the face here. We'll see if that's the shape they elect.
Yeah, and you've got to time the runs correctly as Washington elects to hold that very high line at the top of the box.
Riviere to Hope Gunn across the face. Wu leaves it. A shot is blocked. Now Beer. Left-footed shot through traffic. Saved by Fowler. And the Hoyas did do the play I thought would happen. And Hope Gunn headed it brilliantly square.
Yeah, a lot of motion at the top of the box, activity. And that ball fell to Nealis, who hit it well. The Washington defense able to block that shot. As you see this ball headed back across the goal mouth, and then Nealis with a great strike. And then here through traffic, Fowler does well to see this one. As Bartlow stuck a leg out late.
It was Casey French who blocked that Nealis shot. But you sense a little bit more confidence from Georgetown over these last 15 minutes, and Jack Beer and Will Sands, Tom, have made a big difference.
Well, and it's been the bench, right? Coach Weiss has leaned on the bench all season long, and he's definitely gotten a lift the last 10 or 15 minutes when he's called several players off of that bench.
So as the clock ticks down to halftime, it's Jamie Clark and the Huskies that have won the first 45 minutes of this tactical battle. But there's 45 minutes more to watch on the Big East Digital Network. Washington 1, Georgetown 0.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Hallelujah.
And this is just one night. You should see what we do during the day. Marquette University. Be the difference.
Halftime at Washington, D.C. It was this goal from Jared Townsend that signaled Washington's arrival into the match. That goal, the only marker, is Washington leads 1-0 here in the Big East 40th anniversary of the conference. Let's look at the history of the conference and let's look at the value that diversity has played throughout.
One of the positives about the sports business in the last couple of years, and in recent years in particular, has been the growing interest in seeing our industry become a more diverse and inclusive place.
I find it important for us to amplify the voices of those who have not traditionally had a seat at the table. As a Black African woman, my various social identities are always at the forefront of my daily interactions, from my first name, my culture, to where I'm from. So for me, diversity is about us celebrating our uniqueness as a society.
A lot of what happens in terms of diversifying workforce in the college world happens at the campus level. That's really where the core hiring takes place. The schools are responsible for hiring their directors of athletics, their staffs, their coaches. And so the conference is really a step away from that activity, but I think conferences can and should set a tone. And so in the Big East, we have tried to make diversity and inclusion a conference strategic priority. We have, for example, within our conference SAC group, designated a diversity and inclusion officer. D&I has become an important topic of discussion at SAC meetings. And our D&I officer is now included into the conference-wide diversity and inclusion working group that we've created.
I currently serve as the conference's Student Athlete Advisory Committee's Diversity and Inclusion Officer. This position is charged with ensuring that the conference carries out its commitment to inclusion for all. And I assist the conference staff in creating opportunities for student athletes from different backgrounds to come together to share and exchange ideas. I also work closely with the Big East Diversity and Inclusion Working Group.
You know, when I think about diversity, I think about the fact that diversity is a fact. When we think about inclusion, we think about inclusion being a choice. And I think if we can succeed in anything at the Big East is to impress upon everyone how inclusion isn't just a choice but a responsibility.
The Big East is committed to continuing the development of programs and initiatives that support diverse and inclusive environments for our student athletes, coaches, staff, and communities.
When my time came to stop coaching, I was very fortunate that I didn't have to go cold turkey. I was able to start the Big East Conference, and we came across the sky like a meteor.
I'll look it up.
One recruiting year that they had that really turned everything around was the Ewan Mullen Pinckney recruiting year. It changed the face of Eastern basketball probably forever.
We just believed in ourselves and a lot of hard work on everybody's part.
Every March, Madison Square Garden is home to everything that is college basketball.
Put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
What? How's the weather? Yeah. It's snowing out. It's a blizzard, but we ain't gonna stop.
Rightly, there were questions early on about whether the Big East could withstand the test of reconfiguration, and I think if you were here, we've done that and more.
It's a monster league now. Last man standing, bring the flag. Tough to coach in, but great for spectators and great to play in. The March of the Big East goes on.
What can great minds do?
While at Seton Hall, I interned with the Superior Court of New Jersey, and that inspired me to go to law school.
I am a physics and civil engineering major, and I want to work on infrastructure in underdeveloped countries.
I'm the news director at one of the top college radio stations in the country.
I'm working with my professor on research that could help athletes during sudden cardiac events.
I started my own business, Classic Soccer Cleats, and I just sold it to a company in England.
Come see for yourself what great minds can do.
What is a Villanovan? In 30 seconds? Well, Villanovans aim high. Top 50 National University high. We think fast and stay connected. V's up. Villanovans think deeply, push boundaries, and go, go, go! Still with me? We climb corporate ladders and these ladders. This campus is our home, but you can find us almost anywhere. Villanovans have big hearts and solve even bigger problems, and we celebrate together. Ignite change, go Nova.
Back at halftime in Washington, D.C., it's the visiting Washington Huskies, the number 6 seed, with the lead against the 3-seeded homestanding Hoyas and Tom Greaser. It's been an even match, but Washington got the goal early and then just settled in.
Yeah, and Washington with 4 shots, but they were all in the first 15 or 20 minutes of the match, including that beautiful goal by Townsend just 4 minutes in. And as the game progresses, Georgetown found more of a rhythm, especially when Coach Weiss went to his bench.
And, Tom, I think you see the fouls, double the fouls from Washington. Washington is a team that fouled a lot during the season. The fouls are in solid positions, though Georgetown did look dangerous on some of the restarts.
Yeah, the Huskies certainly are physical, getting in, stuck in on some battles in the midfield and in the defensive third. They will have to be careful not to concede in a dangerous spot in the second half.
It's been an exciting NCAA tournament, Tom, that included 2 outstanding quarterfinals last night, and we'll look at how things stand up. The winner here facing Jeremy Gunn's Stanford Cardinal, and then the winner of the Gaucho Demon Deacon match later today will face the Cavaliers.
Yeah, one ACC team already booked its ticket. One Pac-12 team has booked its ticket. The Hoyas out of the Big East trying to get the Big East some exposure in the College Cup, and Washington looking for a third matchup with Stanford this year.
And, Tom, one of the things we mentioned in the first half that I think is so great about this match is the relationship between these 3 men, Bobby Clark, Jamie Clark, and Brian Weiss.
Yeah, and you look at the legendary Coach Bobby Clark hoisting that national championship trophy that he won at Notre Dame. Of course, he coached Brian for several years at Dartmouth. And then when Bobby went to Stanford, Brian was the assistant coach there, and they both coached Jamie Clark, who now mans the sideline for this Husky side.
And all 3 similar philosophies about the game, all 3 similar philosophies about life and soccer as a teacher.
Yeah, and you can see it in how both Jamie and Brian have put their rosters together. Great players that fit a system, but great young men as well.
So the start of the second half is just a couple minutes away. Can Georgetown find the equalizer, or will Washington find its first College Cup?
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Hallelujah.
And this is just one night. You should see what we do during the day. Marquette University. Be the difference.
Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't, driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here, we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
to know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here, we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
And you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here, we do.
Thanks, guys. Washington's coach Clark told me the last 15 minutes of the first half, his team stopped playing forward, and they can't do that in the second half. They really have to start and get out on their front foot in the second. As for Georgetown, head coach Brian Weiss told me his team was not only losing the first balls, but they were losing the second balls as well. So he said they need to reassess and come out and just trust the process of what they've been able to do this season.
Great insights, Megan, and both coaches, I think, pretty comfortable actually in this position. Brian Weiss perhaps calling on at halftime the memories of 3 weekends ago when the Hoyas defeated Providence in the Big East title game on this field with the same halftime scoreline.
Yeah, and like he did in that contest, Coach Weiss is electing to mix up the lineup here at the start of the second half. Derek Dotson, the all-everything striker for the Hoyas, is starting on the bench, as is Achara, so it will be senior Riley Strassner getting first minutes of the game today for Coach Weiss.
And Tom, this is an 11-player formation or 11-player combination for Georgetown that has not played together all season long. Brian Weiss not afraid to turn some dials here at halftime. Strassner's actually given some really productive minutes here late in the season.
Well, and Megan talked about trusting the process, and for this Hoyas team, it's been the depth all year long in front of that man, Tomas Romero, and his counterpart, Nick Apolitis for Georgetown. Coach Weiss has players he trusts in every position, and he's electing to call on a number of different ones at the start of the second half.
Hope Gunn's clearance is blocked. Romero has to come all the way off his line and clear to midfield. And now Meek trying to find Bodley, but it's cleared by Nealis.
And even that, right off the opening kickoff of the second half, energy from this Huskies side. Clearly the message from Coach Clark got across. Play with energy and urgency like he did in the first 30 minutes of this contest.
There's the first touch for Strassner. He battles Meek for it and then fouls him. Riley pretty high in these stats for fouls committed per minute played, continuing that form. Nealis heads away, but it's Soto, the diminutive playmaker. Soto on a yellow card, the only caution issued in the first half. Strassner puts Bartlow under some pressure, and he calmly eludes it. Soto a poor touch, allowing the Hoyas to earn possession. Now Ahern an early ball, but not well directed, and Townsend and the Huskies will move forward. It's a battle between he and Sean Ahern. It'll be a foul on Townsend, and Ahern shoves him to the ground. And referee Eric Tattersall will have a word with somebody, maybe two somebodies.
Take a look at this battle. Good grab of the jersey from Townsend. A little shove by Sean.
That one a little more authority than the one we saw in the first half against Miglietti.
Good piece of officiating there.
You see in the background there, Final Four appearances for the women twice, including a year ago. The men would like to add their second appearance. I have no doubt the women's staff tuning into the broadcast from down in South Carolina this afternoon. As Hope Gunn with possession, but Townsend winning the ball on the right side. Early ball is out of play.
Yeah, and some casual play out of the back from Georgetown is the Huskies are pressing higher at the start of this second half. Freshman Romero will have to get them better organized to deal with this press from the Huskies.
Tomas Romero unbeaten in his college career here as a freshman. Georgetown beaten only once this year. And that was at Louisville when Giannis Nicopolidis manned the nets. Strassner early throw to Fisher. Fisher battling bodily for it. And the foul whistled. Soto wished an advantage had been played. And Tom, we knew the combination of Bartlow and Kleeman was one of the strengths down that spine for Washington, and they've lived up to that billing.
You think this Husky side, they've only conceded 12 times all year. Of course, Bartlow gets a lot of the recognition, Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, but it's really a great team defensive side. Very well organized, numbers surrounding the ball.
And this man, Jacob Montez, needs to find the ball more for the Georgetown fans. Here's Strassner off a great flick from Will Sands. But Washington disrupts the Hoya attack and moves forward momentarily. But here's O'Hearn just eluding Strassner. And then Strassner collided with Kleeman. I think the referee asking the fourth official there what he saw to know if a caution would be warranted.
Strassner just a clumsy foul. Looks like they almost collided with knees, and Strassner will find his way into the book for that challenge.
2 fouls in just 3.5 minutes for Riley Strassner in his first moments of the match. And no doubt, Brian Weiss, Connor Klakota, Michael Casper, and the Georgetown staff talking about when the reinsertion of Dotson should happen.
Yeah, and a lot of it is how this group plays at the start of the second half.
A yellow card has been issued to the Hoyas.
It's been a choppy start.
Riley Strassner.
Here's Riviere in traffic. Good turn. Riviere has Strassner to his right. Riviere carrying the ball well. Overlap. Oh, and Bartlow reads it well.
And again, Bartlow, the understanding positionally of where to be.
But that burst from Zach Riviere, we've seen it a few times this year, Tom. We saw it most notably in Maryland. And a turn like that and a run like that led to Georgetown's 1 goal.
And Coach Clark is going to find his way into the referee's book. Not sure what he's unhappy about, because I actually thought as Riviere made that turn, it was Ostrom who was kind of grabbing Riviere to slow him down.
Yellow card caution has been issued to the Huskies bench.
Ostrom through ball. Doesn't find anybody, so Nealis will collect and win a throw. But the first 5 minutes have gone like Jamie Clark hopes this entire second half will go. Georgetown obviously going to have some of the ball, but no chances conceded.
And it has been a choppy, physical first 5 minutes. Both teams with several fouls already.
Georgetown trailing in this match the most it's trailed in any match all season. Fisher chest down. Fisher getting the start over freshman Dante Polvera, and another foul whistled on Meek. And you can see Jamie Clark there taking a deep breath afterwards.
Yeah, it is a physical Washington side, but got to be careful about where you give those fouls away.
And another through ball that's easily read by a Washington center back, that time Kleeman.
Yeah, Kleeman and Bartlow have had a great game disrupting this attack. Georgetown not really getting into a flow at all against this Husky side.
And this man, Dylan Nealis, does not want this to be his last college soccer match. An incredible career by the New York native.
And of course, his older brother was part of that side in 2012 that did make the College Cup and advanced all the way to the national championship game where Georgetown fell to Indiana.
And that was Jimmy, the middle brother, Sean, a current member of the New York Red Bull roster. Strassner dispossessed by Kleeman. And now Bodley with space. He has Meek to his left, and he'll find him. Meek and Wu battle for it. Daniel Wu forces Meek to the corner flag. Then Meek nutmegs him. And then a shove in the back by Wu. And the experienced Meek got the better of Daniel Wu there.
Yeah, and there you see everything that Meek brings to this side. Energy, skill, and then the savvy to take a foul in a dangerous spot.
The collective anxiety of the Shaw Field crowd can be felt here as Bodley and Bartlow have the chance to serve a ball in from a very dangerous position.
Yeah, and it's not far from this spot where Rothrock served one in the second round against Pittsburgh where there was an own goal. It's a tough place to defend.
Bodley over the ball. Bartlow hits through traffic, and a brave header by Nealis. It's Soto top of the box, blocked by Strassner. A brave header there by Dylan Nealis.
Yeah, that ball was hit with a lot of pace. And a good job by Strassner. One of the things that Megan had talked about, that second ball, Strassner closed down Soto at the top of the box.
Loose ball pops to Strassner, now Sands. Dan Helfrich, Tom Greaser, and Megan Caffrey with you at Shaw Field. The Georgetown student faithful ringing the field as Riviere receives. Now it's Nealis isolated on the right. He'll cut inside. Dylan Nealis tries to combine with Riviere, but that attack thwarted by the Huskies. And a hard foul there, or rather a hard fall there. And immediately referee Eric Tattersall signals the Washington trainer to come take a look at Casey French.
Yes, French and Sands with a challenge, and then French lands on his head.
So 53rd minute of play. It was Jared Townsend in the 4th minute, a curling, blistering shot from about 20 yards that beat Tomas Romero. That's the difference. And since that moment, Washington's been comfortable protecting this 1-0 lead.
Yeah, Georgetown's best chance was a 30-yard blast off the foot of Sean Zawatsky, but not a lot of pressure in front of Fowler. Haven't really caused him to be anxious at any moment in this match.
There you see the crowd. A few purple-clad Washington fans in amongst the Hoya faithful. Take a quick break. back live here at Shaw Field. Injury timeout is over, allowing Georgetown to make the substitution it wanted to, and here is Derek Dotson, the captain, the junior from the Chicago area, replacing Riley Strassner, who gives the Hoyas 8 minutes and 1 yellow card. But Dotson, the first team all-conference performer, Riviere, tight turn in traffic. Ball bounds and Fowler easily off his line. And there is Sam Fowler. And Tom, the jersey, the roster says freshman, but this man from Issaquah, Washington, has looked cool and composed all match long.
Yeah, he's a member of that Sounders Academy as Riviere finds some space.
Riviere's been very dangerous all day today. Dotson in traffic, battling for it against Soto. Soto wins it. And then the ball goes out of play. And that man, Dylan Nealis, announced this week as one of 15 finalists for the Mac Herman Trophy. The number 98 in purple, one of the other members of that recognized group, Blake Bodley.
And both well-deserved for that recognition. Nealis, consecutive Defensive Players of the Year in the Big East Conference as Dotson is hauled down.
Two MAC semifinalists have already punched their ticket. Tanner Beeson for the Cardinal of Stanford and Joe Bell, the New Zealand midfielder for Virginia.
When we talk about fouls, this one creeps up into a little bit more of a dangerous area. As Coach Weiss will send Hope Gund and Wu forward, the 2 center backs. And Washington, as they've done all game, that high line at the top of the box, a lot of confidence for Fowler to control his box.
Riviere to hit the in-swinger with the left foot. It's a low ball. And Washington loves that service. And Georgetown dispossesses Bodley, who wanted a foul. O'Hearn into Montez, who struggled to find this match. And then he's fouled. And Washington, we talked at halftime, Tom, about the 8 fouls Washington's committed. It's been about 8 already in the first 11 minutes of the second half.
And Georgetown will play this one quickly.
Montez to Sands at the end line. Clips the ball looking for Nealis. And Nealis.
That is brave defending by Ostrom, as Nealis has a great vertical and went up to win that ball, but good defending. As Sands clipped that one to the back post. Good, brave defending.
And Jamie Clark asking Tattersall for a yellow card. And it's interesting, the Washington assistant coaches, is Jeff Rowland there, talking to Clark. He knows he's already has a yellow card. Tattersall's not an official they're going to be familiar with, and so trying to make sure Jamie knows to keep his composure with 34 minutes and change left.
No doubt, it's just great coaching, great awareness from the Washington staff.
As we look at the injured Husky on the ground, and Zach Riviere, Tom, as we look at Jamie Clark, Zach Riviere, the number 27 in gray, has provided quite a spark for Georgetown wide today.
Yeah, and he's got that quick release, a dynamic player, really quick feet, and he is one of the few players in the attack. I think it's been Sands, Riviere, and Beer that actually have had kind of the most dangerous moments for Georgetown today.
And Sands and Riviere on the pitch right now. Beer out, and I'd expect Jack Beer to play a big part in the remainder of this half. And interesting, Ostrom, as he walks off the field, getting into it a little bit with the Georgetown crowd.
And Jamie is not pleased about that at all.
Yeah, so I didn't see that on camera, but Ostrom sort of signaling to the crowd as he walked off the field, and Jamie Clark said, I don't want to see any of that, just focus on the match.
Yeah, you're up 1 goal right now.
Nealis finds Dotson near the end line. Derek keeps it in play momentarily, and then Meek with it for Washington. Wu outjumps Miglietti. The ball harmlessly rolls to Fowler, the Washington keeper. It's Jarrett Townsend's 4th-minute goal, still holding up here, with Washington leading the number 3 seeded Hoyas.
And Townsend is known as a dynamic one-on-one player, and he got his moment early in the match, running across the penalty area of Georgetown, and just with a beautiful finish to stake this Huskies side to a 1-goal lead.
Townsend, one of the seniors on the field today. One senior class of the losing side will play their last college soccer match today. And for Dylan Nealis, J.B. Fisher, and Achara of the Hoyas, amongst others, they hope that they find an equalizer to extend the match and extend their season. Magnus heads backwards. And Megan talked about Brian Weiss wanting the team to win both the first and the second. There's another example of Washington winning both the first and the second balls.
Yeah, and the second balls early in this match, there was just a lot of traffic in front of the Georgetown goal that Washington was quicker to. They've done a good job in the midfield getting onto those second balls.
Here's Wu. Poor turnover allowing Soto. Now Townsend finding Miglietti a shot. And Romero collects. Good quick release there from Gio Miglietti, sophomore from California.
And good combination play. Miglietti found a pocket of space, but Romero up to the task.
Here's Jack Beer, who just re-entered. He and Polvera both did. I think both those players could play a prominent role here in the final 30 minutes of regulation.
Yeah, Polvera, decorated freshman out of the NYCFC Academy.
Magnus outduels Polvera there, and the foul whistled on that freshman. Magnus does a lot of the dirty work in that holding midfield position, one of the other seniors on Washington's roster. Here's Rothrock battling Soto. Good skill from the Seattle native.
And in this Georgetown attack with 51 goals on the year, only one match all year they've been shut out, and of course that was the match they lost to Louisville.
Here's Montez. First time he's had space. Montez shot! Saved by Fowler, and he doesn't give up a rebound.
Yeah, and Montez would want that one back as Fowler. Fairly routine save for the freshman there.
Hope Gunn out jumps. Oh, the whistle, a foul, and Megan Fowler sure is an impressive freshman.
Most definitely is, Dan, and Coach Clark was impressed with him right from the start. He said a lot of guys say that they're ready to play, but then they're a little hesitant when the lights turn on, and that couldn't be further from the truth for Sam. He lives for the big moments, and Coach Clark also said what sticks out about Sam is the fact that he has a true belief in his ability, and that is so key with goalkeepers especially.
Thank you, Megan. As Ostrom restarts, dangerous ball, and there's Georgetown's goalkeeper, Tomas Romero, an equally confident youngster who grabs and starts the Hoya attack. Nealis will win a throw. And Tom, anything Brian Weiss and the Hoya staff can do at this point to try to get Nealis more involved in the attack?
I think they need to keep more possession if you really want to find Nealis time and space to play, but this Washington defense has just not allowed Georgetown to get into a rhythm and a flow. And when Nealis is at his best, it's Georgetown is swinging the ball side to side, and we've seen Nealis picks up the foul only a couple of occasions, and Nealis will find himself into the book as well for that challenge. But only a couple of times all match long has Georgetown swung the ball side to side and allowed Nealis to get space and go one-on-one.
Play stopped as The referee tries to locate Nealis to award him his yellow rectangle. Nealis, you can see the anxiety worn on his face right now. And even though there's 29 minutes to go, the Hoyas know against a side like this, aren't going to be tons of chances. As Bartlow restarts, dangerous ball, Romero gobbles it up. And that's why things like the Montez chance, 3 minutes ago, loom a little larger because Georgetown not getting the high-quality chances they've been getting all season long.
Yeah, and all credit to this Huskies side defensively. So organized, and you would certainly expect that from a Jamie Clark coach side, of course. Two-time All-American at Stanford.
Fowler clears, forcing Wu backwards. Clean first touch, but then pressure applied by Bodley. Magnus heads backwards to Bartlow. Very sure-footed. And a good header by Miglietta. Meek at speed against Hope Gund. Now he cuts inside. Shot to the back post is wide. And Georgetown defenders do a great job there of not getting their feet caught up. That is a penalty kick waiting to happen.
Yeah, Meek with good, quick feet. Hope Gun gets a little piece of the ball right there. And then Wu comes over as well, but Meek looking to bend that one into the far post.
It's the second time today that Lucas Meek has had a bit of a half chance. Nealis comes back to get the ball as Jamie Clark replaces Meek with Joey Parrish here. I'm sure trying to get Meek 5-10 minutes of chance to collect his thoughts. As the Hoyas 27 minutes and change away from their season ending on home field. It ended there in a 1-0 match a year ago against Michigan State as Dotson finds it. Good ball out wide. Nealis collects. Nealis' service is dangerous. Falls to Polvera, but Bodley does a great defensive job.
And then the pace of Bodley to break out.
And then play on, says Tattersall. And the ball's out of play. O'Hearn and Bodley battled there. O'Hearn already with a yellow card. An interesting no call whistled here. Surprises me.
Good shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. I think O'Hearn probably leaned into him. But Bodley's been impressive with his defensive work. Washington's leading goal scorer 2 or 3 times today with that extra effort, coming back and winning the ball.
And Brian Weiss, through the years, Tom, has been reticent to change formation when chasing the game late. Be interesting to see if Washington continues this lead into the last 15 or so, whether he pulls any tactical strings. Here's Rothrock to the end line. And they'll say goal kick.
Oh, and Paul Rothrock is furious with that call. Thinks that he won a corner as he tries to get to the end line.
I think it was out of play, and I think the referee had the best angle and made the correct call.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But you talked about it, anxiety on the face. You can see the frustration of Rothrock there. He understands how important it is to win that corner kick.
Montez with it, but dispossessed by Magnus. What a job the Huskies have done against Jacob Montez this afternoon.
Yeah, defensively, they've closed down spaces, made it very difficult for the sensational junior Jacob Montez to get going.
Good throw in by Nealis, finds Montez. And the Hoyles will get it wide to Paul Rothrock. Rothrock would love nothing more than to be involved in an equalizing goal against many of his former mates. Here's Polvera. Polvera in the box against Kleeman. Kleeman plays out wide. O'Hearn, ball into the box is cleared. Hits the referee. Then hits the chest of Sean O'Hearn. Rothrock able to keep it in play. Then find Nealis. He and Ostrom battle. And Bartlow clears out of play. Georgetown a little more possession in the Washington side of the field right now.
And you can sense some urgency from this Hoya side right now as they are searching for the equalizer.
You can also see the crowd swelling, the student crowd in particular, ringing Shaw Field as it falls to Polvera. Clean touch to his left, but Kleeman is there.
Kleeman and Bartlow have been fantastic this entire match.
Bodily outpaces Wu for it. Wu has no covering defender. Bodily to the end line, but Wu did enough to force the all-everything Pac-12 Player of the Year into a goal kick.
Yeah, and that's one of the first times that Bodily is isolated as well. Just ran out of real estate.
And again, that man, Tomas Romero, has never seen defeat as a college athlete. Played in the Philadelphia Union Academy system. Played in a lot of big matches, including with the Bethlehem Steel. Bartlow heads straight up in the air. Now Zawadzki and Magnus battle for it. The substitute, Grimsby, poor ball, allowing Georgetown to possess. The Hoyas territorially starting to apply a little more pressure to Washington, but none of that's turning into quality chances. Meanwhile, Washington breaks out on the counter. Early ball, looking for Grimsby. Leaves it for Miglietti, top of the box. Finds Bodily. Shot just over.
Oh, and that is an opportunity that Bodily will want back.
It's great soccer on the counter there. It's Parrish, Miglietti, Grimsby, and Bodily all a part of it as a cheeky little layoff from Grimsby, the substitute.
And a great ball into a pocket of space on Bodily's preferred left foot, in Georgetown fortunate that Bodily couldn't find the target.
What's on the line is a matchup against the Stanford Cardinal in the Final Four. Washington coach Jamie Clark looking for his first ever appearance. Brian Weiss his second. His 2012 team made it all the way to the national final where they fell to Indiana. But unless they find an equalizer, the season will end on home turf today. Polvera looking for Nealis. Heads into the path of Montez. Good first touch by Magnus. Montez with it. Montez leaves for Beer. Beer to his left foot. Shot over. But that time, Georgetown at least got a line-breaking pass.
And it was Nealis really stretching far up the field, and a great directional header that allows Montez to run, and Beer leaning back a little bit. He scored a great left-footed goal in the last match.
And Tom, we'll know soon, I think, whether Brian Weiss and staff believe that Achara is fit enough to contribute to this match. He's only played 10 minutes. Scoop pass from Montez. Kleeman out jumps Dotson. Then a good battle between Grimsby and Zawadzki leads to a Georgetown throw. Nealis looking for Dotson. Dispossessed by Parrish. And good defending from the freshman Polvera to find classmate Wu. Wu's the ball caught up in his feet, but back to Romero.
And you're right about Achara with 10 minutes in the first half. Rothrock just loses his feet.
The referee will stop play as Kleeman down again. It's an awkward challenge from Rothrock. I think a stumble. The fans enjoying the...
Yeah, Rothrock just lost his feet there, and Kleeman doesn't make him feel any better about that, but...
Double fisting hot cocoa here at Shaw Field. Whatever it takes.
Yeah. Two hands for a reason.
It's a pleasant 45 degrees, not much of a breeze, but we've progressed all the way to the 70th minute.
And going back to Coach Weiss and the fitness of Achara, you think about how this game has gone, and Riviere and Sands have been very good off the bench.
Rothrock with it. Rothrock cutting inside. Washington forcing him backwards, but good possession from Georgetown. Nealis wants the ball on the right side. So Watsky elects to go a more direct route. Here's Montez in space. Montez still with it. Montez falls, and it's a dangerous opportunity for Georgetown about 27 yards from goal.
And Dan, this is what we've been talking about all this second half. With the number of fouls Washington is committing, this one is in a real dangerous spot.
And what a sound that is, that rolling thunder sound. That's the sound of Georgetown students banging the boards. As call it 700 students, so 1,400 hands. Good math. Hitting the board, but a big moment here.
And both Montez and Beer, who are over this ball, have scored on free kicks directly this year. It was Beer's goal in the Big East final.
Montez scored a goal in Queens against St. John's from a similar position. It's Montez to hit. And it's a goal! It's Jacob Montez with a Hoya goal for the ages! And it's a tie game in Washington, D.C.
A frustrating afternoon can turn with one brilliant strike, and Jacob Montez makes no mistake about this free kick. Fowler has no chance.
And I dialed back my memory to the St. John's game. Montez did the same. It was a shot to the same side where he beat the Red Storm goalkeeper. But we have ourselves an Elite Eight game in a suddenly electric Shaw Field.
And the fouls that Washington commits, you got to be careful about in a dangerous spot. And Jacob Montez with his 11th goal of the year, and none more crucial than that.
And Tom, I got to tell you, the fans have made a difference. We were talking about it just before the kick. You could feel the intensity of the audience, and suddenly we have an entirely different match.
Jacob Montez. Entering the match for the Hoyas, number 27, Zach Riviere, replacing number 11, Jack Beer. Also entering the match for the
And
Hoyas, number 14,
off the ball, we have Sean
replacing number 28,
Zawatsky,
Paul Rothrock.
who took
And the
something
great
up
JD
high.
Fisher,
The
replacing
fourth
number
official was in the area.
17, Holden.
And Eric Tattersall is going to try to get some help because he has no idea what happened here.
Yeah, and Coach Weiss is trying to get an answer as the fourth official will come onto the field here.
We'll see if we can catch this in the bottom left of our screen here. Zawatsky had the ball. And Grimsby, I believe, got into him. And we will see the first look at VAR. And Tattersall is going to go to look at the video assistant here as we see Megan in our foreground here. She'll have a quick look at the monitor and giving the chance for the fans to get even more into this match. And Tom, Jamie Clark's been frustrated with the officials. I worry it's sort of going to his team as well here, as they've lost a little bit of the plot.
Yeah, and they are a physical side. They're known for that. They're going to get stuck in. They have commit a lot of fouls throughout the year. But you're right, there's a fine line that you have to straddle. And you talked about the fans. Think back as Ostrom kind of gestures to the fans coming off. It actually kind of awoken the fans here at Shaw Field. And Georgetown, the urgency has picked up as they were searching for that equalizer. And with less than 20 to go,
and still looking at VAR to see if there's an offense that warrants some more discipline. And Tom, I don't know. It's hard to tell from that one angle. The foot definitely got high as Zawatsky progressed. No one saw it, but this is an advantage of having the ability to go to the technology. And our team here on the Big East Digital Network, who's done such a great job all year long, more involved perhaps in the outcome of this match than they thought they would be. as I think that's our cameraman Tommy providing an umbrella or a parasol to block out the sun. Tommy can do it all. And with that, we'll see, as the referees no doubt will have a word with both coaches. They'll say nothing happening. And referee Eric Tattersall is going to have a word with both Jamie Clark and Brian Weiss.
And Coach Clark has not calmed down at all.
And Jamie Clark, who's already has a yellow card, and here's the best angle we have of it. And we had both the right arm and the right foot making contact with Zawadzki.
Yeah, I think the hand got high on Zawadzki's face, but it was, nothing intentional there. Zawadzki's running.
Okay, so
Jamie's frustrated that the referees went to look at the video.
So let's reset things. 2 amazing goals, both on the east side of Shaw Field. It was Townsend in the first half for Washington, Montez in the second for Georgetown off a free kick. And that has us knotted at 1. And the tactics now for Jamie Clark. Tom, do they evolve at all in a 1-1 match?
No, I think similar to Coach Weiss, be comfortable with what got you here. Of course, Georgetown finds the equalizer where Washington's 2 leading scorers were on the bench.
Kleeman does a good job to win the ball, allowing Soto to move forward. Wu steps in front and finds Fisher. Fisher, who came in after the goal for Polvera. As we selecting for experience over the dynamic freshman.
Yeah, and Coach Weiss looking for that spark, looking for the combination. He understands the depth is the strength of this team, and so guys are getting 10 or 15 minutes to go, and then he's getting someone in there with fresh legs.
And Tom, we made mention of Jamie Clark trying to buy 5 to 10 minutes for both Meek and Bodley. Well, good news, he got him that 5 to 10 minutes. Bad news is they conceded the equalizer with their 2 star players on the bench.
Yeah, and they both re-enter here. Of course, you think back to when it was a 1-0 and that chance that Bodley had that he couldn't keep under the crossbar.
Fisher on the ball for Georgetown. Tight space. And then a handball whistled on Washington. And Tom, these are the times when heroes are made, when careers are defined, when programs are taken to another level. Who will be the hero here on the hilltop at Georgetown? It's Will Sands, who's outdueled by French. And now Washington attacking in the midfield. Tevez back in the match off the bench. And then Hope Gunn calmly continues possession. All coaches and staff from both teams standing right now. The intensity is palpable. And the fun thing about this for me, Tom, is there are freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors for both teams contributing on the pitch right now.
Yeah, both teams have lineups with all 4 classes represented. All 4 make a difference to their sides.
Here's the junior Montez for the Hoyas. No foul. The fans on the near side couldn't believe that. Play on. Now, Montez tries to turn against Kleeman. He thought he was fouled again. And now both staffs frustrated. Here's Bodley battling Hope Gunn.
Yeah, and there's a lot of physical contact that is being let go right now.
Fisher, the senior, played some of his youth football at the Paris Saint-Germain Academy. And that time Montez fouled. Play on as Riviere has it. Riviere in space and then dispossessed by Kleeman.
Good recovery from Kleeman, and behind the play it's Zawadzki holding his knee.
And now Fisher to Riviere, and the lump in the collective throat of the fans as Zawadzki hurt again. And again, it was a little off the ball.
Well, and Montez asking for the medical staff to come out quickly. We talked about Zawadzki being so important to this Georgetown side.
See if we can see what happens here. Just kind of incidental contact between Mangus, and he immediately clutched his left knee. And anxious moments here for the Georgetown side. And Shawfield was rocking 5 minutes ago, Tom Greaser. Shawfield is silent right now.
And as Montez gets knocked down, it really has become a physical play, but with Zawadzki, you didn't see a lot in that turn.
I don't know if I'd call it a non-contact injury, but it was close to non-contact. And Sean Zawadzki in serious pain, and Megan, Sean Zawadzki, a great story for these Hoyas all year long.
Well, he most certainly is, Dan. And you and Tom mentioned it earlier that he was out for the Louisville game, and Coach Weiss told us that you could feel that his presence wasn't on the field in that regular season matchup against Louisville. He calls Zawadzki his glue guy, and he said you can just feel when he's out there, he brings this entire new energy to the team. So if he is injured in this match here, that is something that the Hoyas will feel.
Well, and the Hoyas feel the agony on the face of Sean Zawadzki, and the glue is headed to the bench, and nothing hurts that young man more than not being able to be out there with his teammates in the last 15 minutes of an Elite Eight game. And, Tom, it's a lot to ask of the freshman Dante Polvera. He and Fisher are now going to play in the center midfield together. They have not played together for very many minutes at all this year. So we'll take a quick break and be back when the action restarts on the Big East Digital Network. Georgetown 1, Washington 1.
Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't, driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here, we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
to know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here, we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
And you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here we do.
Back to nearly live action at Shaw Field. And for the second time, Tom, VAR was used. This time there will be discipline, as Sean Zawadzki's, the foul that caused him to leave the game, and it was given to Magnus. And Zawadzki appears ready to re-enter. They've done all the tests, no ligament damage apparently. And Tom, you were saying it looked on replay like knee-to-knee contact perhaps, and you get nervous in those moments.
Yeah, and with the turn, that's the best case scenario as Zawadzki turns, and it hurts a lot when you hit those knees, but as you talked about, Zawadzki is courageous, has such great heart, will do anything in his power to get back on the field.
And that man, number 13, John Magnus, probably knows in the back of his mind that yellow card will prevent him from playing in the Final Four match if Washington advances there based on accumulation.
Yeah, and it's a tough moment for the senior, and he's been important for this Husky side in the defensive midfield. It's a big part of the reason that Montez has struggled to find space, but it was one moment of brilliance from Jacob Montez to beat Sam Fowler and equalize this contest.
Tom, I talked earlier about the pressure on these referees in this match. Eric Tattersall's had to deal with 2 VAR situations. He had to deal with Jamie Clark being in his ear for much of the second half as Hope Gunn put under pressure. Now Will Sands at speed nearly got behind French. So the flow of this match has gotten very choppy as 14.5 minutes remain as Dotson has it with space. The long strides of Derek Dotson, a right-footed shot through traffic, and it's a goal! Derek Dotson, the junior from Chicago, says, I know I've put the Hoyas into the lead.
And you talked about who would be the hero. It's the 2 juniors, Montez and Dotson, coming up huge. And what a run. And just a shot across the goal mouth that Sam Fowler will wish he could get back. As he gets a hand on it. But Dotson stakes the Hoyas to a 2-1 lead with less than 15 to go.
Tom, it is hard to describe the emotion circulating throughout the Shaw Field complex right now. Georgetown hardly generated a quality chance in this entire match, and suddenly, in a 7-minute stretch, the Hoyas have gone from desperation down a goal to 14 minutes between them and their second ever trip to the College Cup.
And it's their 2 leading scorers who come up huge in the second half. And just as they did in the Big East final against Providence when they were down 1-0 at halftime, this Hoya side has come out in the second half and not only found the equalizer, but then has enough in them. And Coach Clark for Washington said at the top of the game, Georgetown is lethal in the attacking third with their finishing, and he's witnessed that from Montez and Dotson.
And I said it in the call time, it's those long strides of Dotson that he creates distance from his defender just enough to get a shot off.
And what's amazing about those long strides is he has such a quick release. There's not a big windup.
And so you wonder if home field matters, Tom Greaser, and the Hoyas worked for it all year. The answer today is an emphatic yes.
Well, no doubt. And for Washington, they've never won an NCAA tournament game outside the Pacific Northwest.
So the Stanford Cardinal await the winner of this match. It'll either be a Pac-12 rematch or the Hoyas will get a chance to face a Pac-12 opponent for the second consecutive time. And here's Daniel Wu. A lot will be asked of the freshman. And as we said in the first half, the freshman, the chance to go home to the Cary, North Carolina area where the Wu family and friends will no doubt turn out in spades. Here. Ball falls to Montez. Little cheeky shot off the crossbar.
Jacob Montez, oh my goodness. Oh, but he was called for offsides, but Washington electing to try to play short out of the back. And Montez, that is simply brilliant. Offsides or not, absolute brilliance from Georgetown's number 7.
Okay, Tom, take me into the mindset of Brian Weiss right now, 12 minutes ago. Anything tactically to adjust as Washington sends more players forward?
Well, I think at this moment, it's just about fighting to win those second balls that he talked about at halftime. The last 11 minutes of this match, when you're holding on to a 1-goal lead, it's to win your one-on-one battles.
Here's Meek. Meek 1-on-1 against Nealis. Good tackle from Dillon. Soto forced backwards. You wonder if Bartlow will get forward a little bit more. Ball falls to Bodley, a shot just wide.
And for the second time in this half, Blake Bodley with a golden opportunity for the Huskies.
And Tom, you see here, he didn't miss by much. Romero will tell you he had the back post covered there. But there you saw Bartlow, and it wasn't a great ball, but it was a ball that got into a spot where if you get a deflection, you get a half chance like that, and that's what happened.
And it's that second ball, right? And it falls to the feet of Washington's most dangerous attacking player.
"10 minutes and 40 seconds stand between the Georgetown Hoyas and a win if they can close it out." Here's Montez. Montez wide to Jack Beer. First time ball cut out easily. And then Parrish is fouled by O'Hearn.
And now with Washington having to chase the game some, you're seeing Montez find pockets of space to run with the ball.
And just as the Hoyas did against Providence, you sense they might see a third coming.
Yeah, it's one of those things. The best way to preserve a one-goal lead is to make it two.
Brilliant thoughts by Tom Greaser here in the Shaw Field press box. And Tom, while Washington makes his substitution, let's give all the credit to our team on the Big East Digital Network, from Kristen Quinn in the Big East office to Brian Krieger producing the games. The whole crew have done an outstanding job all year long. And there's 10 minutes that stand between the Big East regular season and postseason champions and a Final Four berth.
And Washington wins a throw in deep in Georgetown's defensive third, so it allows Kleeman for the first time to come forward as that target player.
And they'll go short again. It's Bodley. Return pass finds him. He's onside. Bodley with space. Bodley cuts to his left foot. It's blocked. It's Zawadzki.
It's Sean Zawadzki selling out, and the Hoyas, all of them begging for an offsides call.
And it was about this moment last night in Charlottesville where Virginia was protecting a 2-1 lead and SMU found the equalizer. Will the visiting Huskies do the same? Sands finds Zawadzki, and it's Sands against Ostrom. Sands does a good job, a slide, and it'll be a throw-in for Washington. Just Bartlow and Kleeman in the center of the defense for Washington. And then Sands wins the ball, and there'll be a foul whistled. And it was a good foul there by Parrish, I believe. It was Joey Parrish, as Sands would have been off to the races.
Yeah, it was a well-read play by the freshman Sands, who, as he has been for Coach Weiss coming in, has been a great spark plug. And Sands not only gets fouled, but then the ball finds his head as he's lying on the turf.
Adding insult to injury, as they say. So Jeremy Gunn and the Stanford Cardinal attentively watching this match as they went on the road to defeat Clemson last night in penalty kicks with the all-everything penalty kick stopper Andrew Thomas in the net. Dotson a good touch. He'll find Montez. Those two men each scoring a goal in the second half. We talked about them in the very open of the broadcast, and they've each delivered.
And what's amazing is neither of them, it hasn't been the greatest performance for either of them, not around the ball, but it's those moments of brilliance.
And Tom, what a testament to the trust Brian Weiss has in Will Sands. He's played the majority of the last 60 minutes of this match as Zawadzki wins the play hard. And Tom, 10 minutes ago, we weren't sure if Sean Zawadzki would be able to return to this match. And fortunately has, as Jamie Clark's going to go to seldom used Ryan DeGroot, the redshirt senior, a huge target.
Yep, and experience as well.
And speaking of experience, Brian Weiss is going to turn to Foster McCune, the junior. McCune's sartorial choice, the pink wristband.
Entering the match, the Hoyas number 22, Foster McHugh.
Here's O'Hearn.
Number 14, Wilson.
And then a foul as Mangus, who's had the better of Montez for pieces of this match, but as the second half has worn on, the quality of number 7 in gray has prevailed.
Yeah, and you're seeing why he's a unanimous all-first-team selection in the Big East. Midfielder of the year and goals at crucial times all season long for Montez.
And no doubt a range of emotions in Scotland right now, Tom. Bobby Clark, father of Jamie, mentor to Brian. He's done so much for both of these men as they've become coaches. Following along here in Scotland today. And no doubt proud of both his son and Brian Weiss.
As he should be, and the quality of the match, the quality of the programs. And talking about trusting the process. Megan talked about it at halftime. Coach Weiss calling on Aiden Rocha, a freshman, late in this match to try to close it out for the Hoyas.
So Rocha, the freshman, is going to play the last 5.5 minutes of this match. Trust the process, trust your roster, trust what you see every day in training. Montez to hit the corner. It's a dangerous ball. Fowler punches. Thought he might have been able to catch that. And then Nealis forces a throw. Tom, we are under 5 minutes remaining, under 300 seconds left. As a Georgetown team that has been brilliant all season long, who hadn't trailed for more than 30 minutes in a match. Is fouled there. Ostrom fouls Dotson. Hoyas hadn't trailed for more than 30 minutes in a match. They trailed today for 65 minutes, and yet here with 4 minutes and 24 seconds remaining, they hold a 2-1 lead.
And these fouls, in addition to allowing Georgetown another restart, it just burns precious seconds off the clock for the Huskies as they look to find the equalizer.
Nealis a diagonal ball, looking for the junior McCune. Foster loves the contact at the corner flag, but Kleeman comes over to dispossess. Bodily out jumps O'Hearn. And then Hope Gund and Miglietti battle, and it's cleared by Wu. And Montez, a little more time, ticks off. Under 4 minutes. Can Jamie Clark's Huskies find a road equalizer? As Dotson, to the delight of the crowd, nutmegs Ostrom, but can't keep it in play. And then Ostrom shoves Dotson, who laughs at him.
Dotson doesn't flinch at all.
Literally not a flinch or a blink of the eyes there, but it was definitely a stare. It's O'Hearn down the left side. McCune smartly stays back to make sure Georgetown's in shape. And we tick under 3 minutes. It's the Huskies, it's the Hoyas, it's on the hilltop. And Tom, it's been a thriller here in D.C.
It really has, and the goals have been brilliant right from the opening minute.
And Wu
Bodily does well, actually, to win that corner kick, and this is a huge moment for the Huskies.
And Wu had a chance, Tom, to clear that ball out for a throw and thought he could.
But Bodily does a great job getting around him on that end line.
2.5 minutes, it'll be the substitute, Imanol Rosales, to clip in. They'll go short. Clean touch by Bodily is blocked by Nealis.
And Nealis kept his arm directly on his body.
Wu wins the first one. If we get a chance, you're right, Tom, we'll see the replay. Eric Tattersall was in a great position.
And if that arm is an inch off of his body, Nealis kept it right on his chest as the Watsky's showing all sorts of emotion.
Fans, as a reminder, we ask that non-player staff personnel remain on the field.
And he turned, and it was the upper arm or the shoulder of Nealis there. But to Eric Tattersall's credit, he was in a great position to see that straight on.
Yeah, and that is just to be brave to make a call in that spot.
Just a reminder, fans, we ask that non-player staff and personnel remain on the field.
It's a great touch from Rosales. He has space. Double team coming, and then Rocha comes back and calmly finds freshman classmate Daniel Wu. Dotson pressures Ostrom. It's a dangerous ball. Miglietti gets a head on it, just over.
When Miglietti, great size in the box, found a great pocket of space as Ostrom is still in Dotson's ear, and Dotson is smiling, and all he needs to say is look at the scoreboard. Ostrom.
And now Rocha will come in. The consigliere, Eden Rocha.
And Rocha is a wrestling champion and put his hands to the face of Ostrom. But it was Ostrom for about 30 seconds in the grill of Derek Dotson.
And Brian Weiss immediately summons Paul Rothrock to the scorer's table. And Jamie Clark needs to be careful here as Ostrom, who was tangling with Dotson, and it'll be interesting. I'm sure the fourth official saw the Aiden Rocha, frankly, gloved effort to the face of Ostrom. Rocha's going to go into the yellow card. Brian Weiss is going to take Rocha out of this match.
You talked about trusting the process.
So so Derek Dotson, who maintained his composure, got in the face of Rocha, as did Zawadzki after that, saying, calm down, don't put us into trouble. So let's reset things. 56 seconds stand between the Georgetown Hoyas and a berth in the Final Four. A first-half goal from Townsend for Washington. Markers from Montez and Dotson in the second. Dan Helfrich and Tom Greaser barely containing their voices. Megan Caffrey on the sideline getting ready to interview the winning coach. And Washington plays it out as the clock ticks under 40 seconds. And resilience, Tom Greaser, perhaps not a word we would have used to talk about Georgetown much this season, but boy, have the Hoyas shown resilience today.
Yeah, they are a prolific offense, a stingy defense, and you talked about it. They just have not been down many in games, but they showed some toughness today in this second half.
Hope gun clears. It's Kleeman. It's just 15 seconds remained. McCune heads. It's going to go out of bounds. And as the clock ticks down, we will see history on the hilltop. For the second time, the Georgetown Hoyas are going to the Final Four.
And what a job for Brian Weiss and this coaching staff. And what a second half from the Hoyas.
And two programs, two coaches with immense respect from one another, congratulate each other, and we have seen drama at Georgetown University. The goals by Montez and the winner from Dotson, the difference. Stay with us for postseason reaction on the Big East Digital Network.
Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't, driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here, we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
to know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here, we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
And you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here we do.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Hallelujah.
And this is just one night. You should see what we do during the day. Marquette University. Be the difference.
What can great minds do?
While at Seton Hall, I interned with the Superior Court of New Jersey, and that inspired me to go to law school.
I am a physics and civil engineering major, and I want to work on infrastructure in underdeveloped countries.
I'm the news director at one of the top college radio stations in the country.
I'm working with my professor on research that could help athletes during sudden cardiac events.
I started my own business, Classic Soccer Cleats, and I just sold it to a company in England.
Come see for yourself what great minds can do.
Derek, your team was down 1-0 at the half, and then you came back. Your teammate Jake with the first goal, you with the game winner. What resiliency did your team show today?
I mean, the first 20 minutes of the game, they really came out and they were fighting hard, and I don't think we were really ready for it. And we did well to keep it only 1-0, and we got a big wake-up call at half. And I think in the second half we just came out and we fought. We worked to get second balls, and once we got second balls, we ran downhill. And I feel like that's what really did it for us today.
In your goal yourself, you had the ball, you took it through. What do you remember from that game, from that play?
All I really know is I had a good first touch, and it took me with the ball, and I saw like a lane, so I just took it. And when no one stepped to me at the top of the box, I was just trying to keep it low, far post, and that's what happened.
Your team is now headed to the College Cup. Coach Weiss has told us how special this group is. What type of a group is heading out to the College Cup?
A team that honestly just loves each other and loves playing, so we just want to play for as long as we can, and that's what we're trying to do right now.
Derek, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Coach, you said, oh man, coming down here. A game that was down to the wire in almost this sense. How is this game a little different from the games that you've played thus far?
You have to give a ton of credit to Washington. They were as hard as teams we've dealt with all year. They pressed really hard. I don't think we were comfortable at all game. They scored an amazing goal to start the game off, and this is an Elite Eight game. It's going to be tight. There's going to be just a couple chances. And to be fair, I don't think either team had a huge number of grade A quality chances, and they took theirs really well, and we took two of ours in critical moments really well. So our group has been finding ways to get those results all year, and I'm thrilled we get another week and get them to a College Cup.
You just mentioned it right there, Coach. You've talked to us all season about how this team really does have matchmakers. Two of them today, Jacob Montez and Derek Dotson, stuck up to score your goals. How did they prove their trust that you have in them?
Well, it's not that they have to prove the trust. I mean, we throw on a lot of different guys for a lot of different reasons, and you just weren't sure whose turn it was today. And some guys weren't on their game today, to be fair. But it was just enough, and but the free kick from Montez was critical, right? Getting the equalizer was the hardest ask there, and we've been doing that all year, and anytime you get a free kick in that part of the field, we feel like it's going to go in right now, and I think they do too.
Your team is headed to the College Cup the first time since 2012. You've talked all season long about how special this group of players is. How excited are you to be bringing this group to the College Cup?
I mean, this is why they work so hard, and it's so hard to get there. So I'm really, really proud of the guys. And we're just having too much fun to stop playing.
Well, keep on playing, Coach. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Megan, thanks so much. It was great broadcasting this match with you. It was a thriller throughout. And Tom Greaser, I'm not sure we've ever had more fun in the 15 years of doing this than we have this year.
It's been brilliant from match one for these Hoyas, and for the second time they're in the College Cup searching for that elusive national championship.
It's Georgetown, it's Montez, it's Dotson, and it's Cary, North Carolina. Georgetown, Stanford on Friday.